for the Central Coast. Karen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dave.
Thanks for joining us. And I want to start by reminding people we're going to be focusing a lot about Paul Flores and Kristen Smart. I want to remind folks that there's no news coming out of Salinas Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Why, Karen?
They're on vacation. The court had planned this ahead of time. So the court is dark. They will go back to court on Thursday. And there are many people anticipating a decision either on Thursday or Friday, but it could go much longer than that.
I've been on a jury. I know a little bit about the experience, but I find it hard to believe that these jurors are away for 5 days and not thinking about the case and not thinking about how they feel about it. I would not be surprised if we had a decision this week.
I agree very much. There is one problem in this issue, though. There is one juror in the Paul Flores case who has been habitually late for court and for jury duty. So when they went to deliberate on Thursday, he was an hour and a half late getting there. I was told he also regularly does not show up after lunch at the right time, so it is putting the whole case off one juror.
We'll just keep our fingers crossed on that. Now, I want to share with our listeners an article that you posted yesterday. Paul Flores' attorney Lean's house, asking the question whether the title is clouded. Let me read the opening. The attorney for Paul Flores put a lien on his client's home to help cover legal costs, which exposed the use of an altered name to buy the property. In 2010, while working for a Coca-Cola bottling company, Paul Flores purchased a small home in San Pedro using the name Paul Raul Flores, according to the grant deed. However, Flores' real name is Paul Ruben Flores. At the time, Flores' true name was associated with a long-standing murder investigation. I know it calls for speculation on your part, Karen, but do you think this was intentional?
I think it was intentional. I wasn't able to prove this, but I had read things from the past where it was alleged that when he went to work for Coca-Cola bottling, he went under the false name to get a job. And that when they found out that he used a false name to get hired, they terminated him. I did try for over a month to get the company to talk to me. They told me they would not discuss his employment history.
All right, so how'd you get this story? And have you seen the documents yourself?
I have all the documents, yes. There was a real estate agent called me and said he looked into this, he saw it, and that he determined it looked fishy because it's the wrong name, and there's a lot of altering of documents. And this person thought the title might be clouded and it could cause problems collecting for the attorney. I did talk to a title officer who said they could probably argue that, this is just a mistake, you wrote down the wrong middle name and to transfer it over.
I'm sorry, how do you write down the wrong middle name when it's your name?
Yeah, it is very strange, and there is a Paul Raul Flores with a very similar birth date.
Well, again, it goes back to wondering whether or not this was intentional.
It does appear that he went by a different name to protect himself from scrutiny and then purchased this. And then when I'm looking at documents, I have quite a few different documents from LA County Clerk Recorder's Office. And repeatedly, he'll have an attorney write out a document, and then when they go to have him sign it at the jail, somewhere between it being printed by the computer or by the printer and him doing it, things are crossed out, they're whited out, things are written in there, it's changed. And it's common on these latest documents coming out of Paul Flores through the jail.
And you even tried to talk to the notary.
I did speak to her. Yeah, she was very friendly. She actually said she was a fan of Cal Coast News.
I always hope.
But she said she is not ethically allowed to discuss things that have happened. But I did try to reach her, and I did talk to her, but she could not give me information because of privacy issues with her and her clients.
So I guess the takeaway for this, Karen, is that if Sanger is hoping to get his money fast, this might complicate the payment.
Yes. He's put a $400,000 lien on the home, and so this could complicate the payment.
Because you have to figure he's not a cheap attorney, and he's got to be charging them a lot of money, and they don't have any money. All they have are the property.
Yes, and Paul does not have, I don't think he has any other assets. He hasn't held a job for lengthy periods of time. He appears to lose his jobs. And what he did first was he transferred, he had the home in the name Paul Raul Flores. So the first thing he did was to use his parents' property attorney and put it in a trust, just a plain Paul Flores trust. And on the top of that, he marked out what the attorney wrote, and he said that he originally did this under the name, he is Paul Ruben Flores, who originally did this deed under Paul Raul Flores. I have seen this type of behavior before, and generally it's when someone's doing something that's not ethical. I have never seen anyone use a fake name on a document where they just forgot and put the wrong name in.
Well, yes. I mean, I keep coming back to that point. It's your name. If I were to try to put your name on a document, I might screw it up. I get that. But to write your own name on there, it strikes me that it was a deliberate attempt to throw people off. But that's just my speculation. Meanwhile, Karen, on the Stillbird line, we have a listener asking a question. What about the crimes that Paul Flores is alleged to have committed in LA County? Do you expect him to be prosecuted for those crimes?
You know, I have talked to the sheriff's department in LA County. I've talked to the investigators, and they made it sound as if they do. They are asking the DA there to prosecute. Now, the DA there then wanted the DA here to add them to this case. But I do know that law enforcement does want him prosecuted, so we'll have to see.
And I'd follow up on that, because in the Salinas trial, you've got Paul Flores and his father Ruben both on trial. But for the LA crimes, it would just be Paul, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Because the father...
What happened here is Paul filmed himself. He had a file named Practice at his home, and he filmed himself having sex with either women that were completely unconscious or fighting, and sometimes with gags in their ball gags in their mouth. And many of these women that they have talked to, or some of the women that they have been able to identify through facial recognition software, have come out and said, yes, I was raped. I was drugged in a bar and raped at his home.
All right, we're in conversation with Karen Velie from Coast News, just getting the very latest on the Paul Flores situation. As Karen has been explaining, the trial was not held Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It is expected to resume tomorrow, and they're at the stage now of jury deliberation. We have more to talk about with Karen. We'll return after these messages right here on KVEC.